Today's curbside special was a Lasko oscillating pedestal Fien. I believe this is a model 9021. And a lot of people hate these, and I really don't know why. I mean, obviously, they're not what fans used to be, but for the time period they're made in and for the price point, I think they're pretty respectable. They're noisy. I certainly wouldn't want to use this in a bedroom or something like that, but if you want to move a lot of air around a large area on a budget, this will get the job done just fine. I have found quite a few of these discarded, and none of them are ever locked up. They're always discarded because something was assembled wrong, or the thing just got too dirty, no one wanted to clean it, etc. So these seem to last a decent amount of time. They seem to take a good number of hours. The major failure point in a lot of fans sold today is the lack of lubrication in the bearings. And that's one thing I'll give Lasko credit for. The majority of the Lasko fans I've come across that are used or heavily used or discarded still have reasonably free bearings. So this one does not look very old. It's actually in pretty good condition, all things considered. There's a chip out of this thing here, but that doesn't seem to affect the operation. And it looks like it's been rained on pretty heavily, so that cleaned up the grill a little bit. The guard appears to have become detached from the back of the, or I guess it would be the front of the motor, and it's just kind of free floating here. I'd be willing to bet that's the reason why it was tossed. So I'm just going to slip this back on here like this. I do see the ring in there that's required to secure it back on. Let's just see if it runs. It's got the infamous fuse plug. Okay, so well, this will be an easy fix. So what's happened here is it became partially disassembled, and instead of trying to fix it, you know, we just say, "Oh, it's broken!" Throw it out, buy a new one, because that's the lovely model that a lot of people are working with right now, which is a terrible model. So we're going to take about 15 seconds, take that off, take this off, and we're going to follow the same procedure that was used to set this up initially, which I'm sure is outlined in the instruction manual. We're going to put this back on. We're going to screw this on. Is this aligned properly? Okay, so this is not threading on as nicely as it should. Alright, there it goes, I think. Okay, so, alright, hold on, I have to eat what I said. There might actually be a problem here. This seems like it keeps popping off. Okay, so there might actually be some kind of odd problem going on here. I still feel like this is going to be something simple once I figure out what's going on. Okay, so this is now successfully threading on. It feels a little weird, but it did go on. And yes, it's still plugged in. I like to work on things plugged in. I think it just wasn't wasn't pushed back far enough, maybe. Seems okay now. It was a little wonky. I think I wasn't pushing the guard back all the way. Yeah, it's definitely fine now. It doesn't have a lot of hours on it at all. Well, this must be a very new one because this has changed. This snaps on differently than I remember the other ones that I have from the 2010s. This must be a very new one. Actually, I like that. That's easier to put on than the ones that I have. Alright, so there we go. Just like that, a couple minutes of basic mechanical troubleshooting, and I got myself a perfectly good free fan. This didn't come from my neighborhood. This came from a flaky neighborhood near where I work. If this was in my neighborhood, I would be inclined to put a sign on it that says fixed and then put it back where I saw it. Alright, let's see if this works. Getting some water spewing out everywhere, but it sure does. So this one's rated for 0.9 amps. I think the other ones that I have are rated for 1.1 amps. There seems to be two motors that Lasko uses. Oh man, this video's going to take me out. There seems to be two motors that Lasko uses. One of which is a 0.8 amp motor, which is paired with the flimsier blade that Lasko uses. And then there's the 1.1 amp motor, which is paired with a little bit sturdier blade. You would find the sturdier blade on fans like the Weather Shield box fan, something like this. And then you would find the thin, flimsier blade on the basic 3733 model, maybe a couple other ones. Actually, I think that the Air King box fan uses the larger motor with the cheesier blade, which is the only configuration I know of that does that. Anyway, so this is running perfectly fine. It's pretty quiet, actually. This does not seem to run as fast as some of the older ones I have. Not that that's any surprise. I can feel this clear across the room. It's plenty powerful. It's only on low. This really is not as loud as I remember these being. I have a really junky one that I use on my deck, and it sits out in the elements all summer. It just keeps running, no problem. That one is an older one, and it runs much faster than this. Of course, it's horrifically out of balance, but it's Lasko, so there's no surprise. And actually, it doesn't feel all that badly out of balance. I think the head is just so lightweight, it just kind of jiggles around a bit. It's more or less a box fan on a stand. It's the same It's the same Lasko blade and everything that Lasko uses and everything else. As loud as I thought it was. I still wouldn't use it in the bedroom. Oh, low, it's really not that bad. I'm gonna go grab the kilowatts meter so we can check it. You can let me know if this all circulates properly while I'm going to get the kilowatt meter. Did it all circulate correctly? Looks like it is. It's got a nice slow circulation. This is the open just fine. Alright, we plug it into the kilowatt meter here. And we'll see what the power consumption is like. I think these are pretty efficient. Let's see what condition the bearings are in. Yeah, see, case in point, it seems like Lasko actually puts a decent amount of lubrication in the bearings. So this is a, oh, actually it's an 18-inch blade or 46-centimeter blade. I wonder if that's what they all are. I happen to have a wind machine here, which is a very bizarre failure. The wind machine, no, this is a 20-inch blade. Okay, so I stand corrected. This is not a box fan on a stand, it's a little bit different. And maybe that's why the motor is a different amperage, because the blade's a different size. That would make perfectly good sense. Okay, let's get this set up here. We're going to test at 119.0 the volts. What is this thing rated for? Oh, duh, it's rated for 0.9. Come on, pay attention here. Alright, let's see what it does on low. That's 0.54 the amps. 63 the watts, with a power factor of 0.99. On the medium, just so we don't have wind noise on the video, it's 0.61 the amps, 71.8 the watts, with a power factor of 0.98, and on high, it is 0.73 the amps, 83 the watts, with a power factor of 0.95. So 0.7 amps or 83 the watts, for this amount of air, I think is totally respectable. I can feel it clear across the garage. It moves a decent amount of air. Great. A pretty satisfactory, all things considered, free fan. Yes, I have much better fans than this. No, I have no real reason to use this, but it's good to have around for use in the garage, use as a loaner fan and give it to someone who needs a fan. Sometimes I'd use it just for the curiosity of it, etc. I like it. I'll keep it. Would I pay 45 bucks for it? No, but for free, all day.